Great job, sister, but you didn't go far enough. Your freedom extends beyond what you even know.
I skipped over one video for good reason. It was just him thanking his followers for helping him reach 100 followers. So let's all give him a round of applause. Well, with that said, let's get into this one. Great job, sister, but you didn't go far enough. Now let me usurp authority over you while I mansplain this to you. He then continues to take issue with this beautiful word, which is pronounced authenteo. In the overwhelming majority of instances where authenteo is used, the authority that is assumed is an authority that has not been properly granted, so it usually carries a negative connotation. So it would be reasonable to say that this verse is saying women can't have authority because a man, or maybe even a god, hasn't properly given it to them. Now, I've heard and have indeed read several different articles and lectures pertaining to this, which all seem to focus on one thing. What did Paul mean? Why use that word? Some have argued that it was specific to the Ephesians, that it carried a specific nuance for them. Okay, that may be true, but it doesn't mean that Paul didn't believe that women should not teach. As I pointed out the first time he brought this up, that doesn't account for 1 Corinthians 14:34, also written by the same author that scholars believe to have been Paul. Women should be silent in the churches. They are not permitted to speak. They are commanded to be under obedience. Now, not only that, but if we look for context clues, that is, words surrounding an unfamiliar word that may give insight into what that word might mean. For example, if I said the elephant holds proboscidean features such as elongated upper tusks, long trunks or snouts, short skulls, and mandibles, you could probably derive an understanding of what the word proboscidea means. Similar to 1 Timothy 2:12, he continues in verse 13, "For Adam was formed first, then Eve. And Adam was not the one deceived, it was the woman who was deceived and became a sinner. But women will be saved through childbearing if they continue in faith, love, and holiness with propriety." Then it moves on to chapter 3, which lays out the man's qualifications as deacons. All of which works off the presupposition that God is real, something the Reconstructionist has yet, as far as I've seen, addressed. Now, as a teaser, he does have a video about the axioms of God, which starts with a huge argument from ignorance. But we'll get there. Now, I want to touch on one other thing with all this Paul talk. Who was Paul? Some say it was he who started Christianity, or at least was one of its first peddlers of the idea. Based on what exactly? All stories he had been told and was likely gullible enough to accept without the actual evidence. Now, I don't want to be too harsh on someone living in an era where they thought sickness came from desert gens, but to continue to accept such claims as true today without the needed evidence to substantiate it makes someone unreasonable. What was that you said?
Reason over consensus.
That's right, reason over consensus. Interesting. Another way to put this, if you had existed prior to around 380 BCE, when Aristotle noticed that lunar eclipses cast circular shadows, or even 276 BCE, when Eratosthenes calculated the Earth's circumference building on Aristotle's observations, you might have been reasonable to observe what was around you and conclude that we might live on a flat planet. To, however, deny today that we live on a globe, an oblate spheroid, requires a denial of facts and evidence with unmitigated arrogant benightedness. Until next time, friends.